What's happening, guys? Dan here, DD Speed Shop. Today we're like de-hot rodding a hot rod. I'm pulling the tunnel ram off of this fine machine to put another intake manifold on I got, which that's the main video actually. I want to talk about this intake manifold, but here's my reasoning why I'm taking this off. So for one, tunnel rams are a pain. It has to warm up and all that, which I've dealt with that for years and all the other ones. The main issue I'm having is this year we've had so much rain, it's just destroying the motor. This thing was mint clean and nice. Now it's all tarnished. My timing cover's starting to rust. The big issue is, and this is the old hypocrite thing, the throttle linkage is getting all sorts of water on it, and I think it's actually in here. This is starting to get, I actually sprayed down with a bunch of WD-40. It's starting to stick, throttle sticking. And I don't know if you guys saw that video of throttle sticking, but I went and gave people attitude about it. Then to have the throttle stick after the fact knowingly is dumb. So we're taking that off. We're gonna ditch the fiberglass hood, put the steel hood back on it, which I really do like the way it looks. And this is what we're gonna do. So this is El Cheapo stuff. Now, this intake manifold, this is a slick setup. So this is 300 bucks Canadian. I got it through Performance Rolls, the company. It's Chinese knockoff, which some people had a problem with. The same manifold I put on the Biscayne, the other garage. Some people we're saying, oh, don't go with the Chinese manifold. I hate to break it to you, I'm pretty sure Edelbrock and all those guys are Chinese stuff as well. So it's oval port, obviously aluminum. It's basically a knockoff of like a air gap or something like that, but for half the price, maybe, you know, something around those lines. It's got all sorts of ports for cooling and vacuum. It's got, the only thing I've noticed, it has a little boss at the back here for, I don't know if that's for throttle linkage or what, but this did get in the way with a full-size HEI distributor. I think I got a mini on this one, so it shouldn't be an issue. It's dual drilled, for you can have the hold down for the distributor on either side, whichever you want there. It's got the center milled out. That's like hot rod stuff there. I guess that helps with horsepower. Ask Freiberger on Engine Master, he knows. The only thing that's a hassle, but I think it's probably all these manifolds, some of the bolts at the front, they're a little tight to get in just because of the way of the design of it. Otherwise, I mean, it's got your little, you know, brackets, bosses. It's got the water passage. I mean, it's a nice manifold, and I would recommend this to anybody. They're pretty slick. And for carburetor, I just got a marketplace special here. So, El Cheapo 750 double pumper. It's had a few things done to it by the looks of it. I mean, I took it apart because it was missing some float bowl gaskets. It's really clean inside, so that's nice. Not full of junk. It's got an oversized squirter on the primary. So that's like a 50cc, I guess. It's got some kind of miscellaneous accelerator little setups there. Pretty big, a 31 and a 37. That's a lot of shot. Otherwise, it's a good little unit. Unfortunately, it's been drilled, the butterflies, so obviously it was on a pretty rowdy motor. But we'll see if we can make it fit on this thing. It's a little bit of a tame big block, but it should work. And obviously, that's your stock cast iron, heavy as all hell, no flow, no good, big block Chevy intake manifold. So we just had that out for show, but this is a really nice piece. And honestly, I mean, if you're looking for something, the Performance World is Canadian company, but obviously this is a made in China setup, so you can probably get it anywhere. I'd recommend it. So we're gonna get set up, start taking all the jewelry off this thing, which is kind of lame. Nothing looks better than a bird catcher and a 70s hot rod as far as I'm concerned, but it's just destroying the look, and I hate it. Valve covers are mangled. I've got to take the distributor off and blow all the water out of it because everything just gets in there and it leaks. It's just ungood. And then everything gets caught in the valley pan. No bueno. So we'll put a hood on it, which is over there. Let's get Mur to come over and we'll put that sucker on. We'll go from there. So let's get stripping.
Big
all right, first up, I killed a bunch of time like usual, so while we were doing that, I stripped all the hardware and everything out of the intake manifold, so it should come off. And now we can see if the camshaft's flattened, right, Mer? Because that's what the noise is going to be. Oh, I should have got a pry bar. Hang on. I thought I'd have the leverage with the tunnel ram.
Mer has his safety equipment on.
You never know when you need a helmet.
That's right. And as a public service announcement, feel free to go and annoy your children because they bugged the shit out of you for the first 20 years. Now it's my turn. that the right tool for the job?
It's the tool I got for the job.
Well, I guess it'll work then. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You even remembered to take most of the bolts out.
There you go, Mel.
Yeah, you did it. Want me to get half of that, or how are you taking it out?
That was good. Let's throw my back out, I think. Yeah, you want to get that?
Switch positions here. Oh, you got it?
Oh! That's a lot of awesome.
Thank you. Oh, the car.
I should get the foliage out of the intake. I could always reuse that gasket set, eh?
Oh, it looks pretty mint.
Everything look good in there too, eh?
Well, I don't have my glasses because I have my bike, so I couldn't tell you what I'm looking at blurry things, so I don't know.
Oh, the push rods have a... Endless GoPro problems. Mer refuses to leave, so we're putting this back on. I'm reusing the gaskets because it's basically an LS motor, and that's what they do. They reuse LS motor gaskets. It actually looks like I silicone those gaskets on. So past Dan and future Dan are now meeting. We're just gonna go ahead and be done with it. And of course, like usual, silicone front and back. No point you putting a gasket there. Goosh that down. It looks so lame without a tunnel ram. And I have that motor had these fancy fasteners, which is actually nice because it'll get in here real easy. So I'll get this all sorted away. I marked the distributor. That's that little mark right there. So we'll put that in. It should have the exact same timing, which as far as I'm concerned is probably all of it. 38 degrees or some ridiculous number. So I'll get this all together. I got to put one bung in there and carburetor on, figure out a fuel line, make the linkage work, and that's it. It's actually really easy going from tunnel ram to this. There's not a whole lot of screwing around. When you go from like a cast iron manifold, there's a lot of miscellaneous crap you got to do. So get this done, be right back. Okay, so I jumped ahead just a scotch, did a few things. We got the carburetor on, fuel line hooked up. I literally just cut a section off and put that on there. We got vacuum line, distributors back together in set. I got to put a few more plug wires on, basically this half of the motor. The only thing that's really kind of janky is the throttle cable. For some reason, it's really tight, which I don't really understand why, because this thing has small block Chevy in it and stuff. I guess maybe just being up and over or something like that. So I had that bracket, I bent it. It is what it is. We got to put water in it. The rad hose has to be trimmed a little bit from that manifold, you know, whatever. And then down here, this is not factory goodness, but just not going to work on either. You need like a 45 bend or some different fittings, but whatever. Hopefully that carburetor's all good. Buddy told me it ran fantastic on a pretty rally small block Chevy, so it should be good on a big block. 750 double pumper with new gaskets, look clean inside. The only thing was the butterflies were drilled, so that's typically done on a pretty high performance application. So I'm hoping I'll be able to pull the idle down enough. It should be okay. Might have to have the screw all the way out and it'll idle just based on those holes drilled in it. But when the price is right, the price is right. So I'll put the water in, get the distributor hooked up, and we should crank this thing. And I mean, it will run, let's be honest. Just how will it run is the key. Hopefully it's all good. All right, first start. So I think we should be good to go. I used the old Uncle Tony gas filler. We did that. The front bowl was leaking a little, if you can see the discoloration. So my fault, I didn't have these screws in tight enough, even though I put a brand new gasket in like an idiot. Yeah, I have a rather spicy amount of timing in it, so we'll see how that goes, just based on kind of the old eyeball of where it was. I don't see what could go wrong. Let's just immediately fire this thing up. I got a block of wood under the front tire and an e-brake. Let's see. Okay, so we either have a vacuum leak or it has no idle in it. Just make sure I got everything plugged. It only has the one vacuum port. Well, let's put a little bit more, we'll turn on it, see what happens. Rev's good. It's aggressive. And sounds okay. Bit of a fast idle right now, but we'll let her warm up and see what that's all about. Still, the motor's noisy on this thing. It always makes me nervous, but we'll just see what happens. I have always enjoyed the way this car sounds. It's got the right little camshaft in it. Exhaust is nice. Trying pretty good. So I dialed in the timing. I got 38 degrees all in. Probably got like 14 or 16 sitting there. It's on exhaust, as I can hear. Water's flowing. We should be good there. Last I checked, it was like 140, 160 degrees. Let's just double check that again. Gauges all fell off. 40 pounds of oil pressure, 160 degrees, and it's charging. What else could a guy want? All right. Let's just see here. It moves. Oh God. Gas just fell in the car. I better take care of that real quick. Whew. That could have been a panic situation. Now, this thing does rattle, but I'm thinking that is direct contact for sure. That's not great. And I know the collector is hitting the floor. That's just the way she's gonna go. So I think that's what I'm gonna do for now. I might put the hood hinges on. I might see if I can scumbag Danny in real quick to help me put the hood on this thing. That would be 100% done. So yeah, I'll go do that real quick. Oh, I should see if I have bolts in that hood. I'll be right back. Well, it is a new day in a new set. I was working on the hot rod last night. It got dark, so I stopped filming. I did a couple things to it since we last were here. Obviously, the hood is on. Mer stopped by. We did that in the dark. I did change the plug wires. Now, this is what I had on there originally. They're a decent set. I believe I built these a while ago, but they had 9-degree boots, and I had torched a couple of them. I don't know if that shows up the light so terrible. The reasoning is I wanted the plug wires I had the tunnel ram, because there's no hood to run under the headers for a clean look. Well, that's a nightmare. So I just got straight-ons, I got boots on them, be all golden. Now, if you notice, the carburetor's got a different front bowl on it. So this is a bit of a funny story. Well, not fun. I got this carburetor for free, so I can't complain. I was running it, and the front squirter was leaking a little bit, so I took it all apart, the auxiliary pump, and at that point, it has at some point, I'll show up, they've been drilled and tapped with like little Healy coils, and that one right there, was no good. So I just go to tighten everything up, and it just spun. So no big deal. You can fix this, but the tap kit's like 40 bucks, and obviously nothing local. You gotta go on Amazon or something like that. And I didn't have time for that. So the speed shop had a universal Proform add-on one. It was 50 bucks, so we slapped that on there. I cannot complain. And let's be honest, it just kind of suits the hodgepodge look that we're going for. Motor's noisy. I took it for a ride last night, though. It has all kinds of power. Good oil pressure. We're fine. We got plates on it. We're all good now. So I think I'm going to take it for a quick drive. See how that goes. And then I'm going to talk highly about this intake manifold, because honestly, that's the whole point of this video. Uncle Tony was watching and said, you should do a video on that intake manifold. And I was like, oh, it just seems like a normal intake manifold, but I guess maybe it's a deal. So we'll see how it performs. All right, so up for a little test drive. It runs pretty good. It doesn't like 1500 RPM and down. I think it's got a real tall gear in it. So it's got a bit of a camshaft, but it's got power, so we're in first at a roll. Feels pretty good. It brakes the tires when you really get into it. It was running a little hot, but I think that's that transition hose or whatever from the intake manifold to the water pump. Motor's still noisy. I'm going to say it 55 more times. We got almost 60 pounds of oil pressure, cruising down the road at 1800 RPM. But it's surgy. It likes being up in the RPM. It's definitely got kind of a little bit too much camshaft for not enough rear gear, in my expertise. But it does buggy this thing. It's got some jam. We're just kind of cruising here. Good. And it's got 28 10.5 Mickey street slicks on it. So it's a handful, this thing, for sure. There's no bones about it. But it's got some big front tires on it. They kind of rub a little bit. It's got 28-inch tall Mickey Thompson. I don't know what the hell they are. But it's definitely it's a hot rod. It's a pretty good car. I blame Josh for all of this. That tunnel ram was cool, but this is way more drivable. I got to adjust the pump shot. It's still not 100%, and I was playing with the timing a little, so I got to dial that in. But overall, this thing's pretty good. So I took it for a little bit more of a cruise, but all the cyclists dig it. And also, it likes to, the RPM, it must have a vacuum leak, because I had it set for like 1100 RPM, now it's like 1300. It likes having a bit of an idle. But, light car, if I changed the rear end gear, I think it would really be a hot rod. It doesn't like that transition if you're going easy. It kind of likes to plug down a little bit. The second you get it like 2000 RPM, don't stab it. Jeez, Honda drivers. Sure, third gear there. And this thing is a straight line machine. Anyways, so that's our little cruise. Oh, there's Hank the dog. Neighbor's dog. But it's good. It smells like burning rubber in here. Oil pressure's good. Charging. And right here, it's lugging 1800 RPM. It's not happy. And also, it falls at a second. Which I don't know why that is. One problem at a time. And right now, we got ourselves a little tire burner.
I miss this car.
It's a good car. Every time I sit in this thing, it reminds me of the scene from Jack Reacher. It's a Chevelle, but same idea.
You do love Jack Reacher.
I do love Jack Reacher. She looked like a nerd. So, made her home. It's got a lot of jam. This intake manifold, I'm telling you, for 300 bucks, worth every penny. I think it's probably like a $500 intake manifold for a name brand one. And man, used intake manifolds, I just bought a used Performer, Edelbrock Performer, which is like one step up from stock. And I had to barter to get 160 bucks. So $300 for something brand new, not warped and all that, I'm telling you, that's a good piece. The old Facebook carburetor with miscellaneous pieces on and look at a little purple on there. I had that for Danielle, so it looks pretty good. So now this thing is a hot rod. I'm stoked on it. Definitely the front tires are like, well, yeah, I can't even fit my fingers in there. It's sacked right out. Yeah, it's all rubbed. There is still some suspension travel, but these are small block springs. And having a big block in it in this situation did not work. Also, these are 28-inch tall tires, so a 26-inch tall tire will fix all those problems. Anyways, that's what I'm doing for today. This thing's a ripper. Buy that intake manifold. Go waste your money on Facebook, and get a 4-speed car or a 6-speed car. I mean, that's really what we're trying to accomplish here. But that stupid race really wanted me to have a stick car. Now it cost me $300. But that's it for me. Subscribe, like the comments. Comment below, all those things, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. All right, I know I already did an outro for the video, but in the time where I filmed it and edited it, Facebook provided. So we have a set of dog dish hubcaps, 15x7, and some new tires on the front. The backs, I had Mickey Thompson's, and these popped up. These are already on steel wheels. They're a vintage set of 275/60 Pro tracks. So let's be honest, they just suit this hot rod. If you don't like dog dish hubcaps on an old hot rod, we can't be friends. I know I'm working on getting to 100,000 subscribers. I don't want to piss anybody off, but if you don't think this looks good, I don't want to tell you. Unfortunately, there's only 2 hubcaps, so I put them on the front. I am on the search for some back ones, so if you know someone, let me know, because I think that would make this thing perfect. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you like the car, and I don't know. We got a lot going on in the driveway. We'll work on something else tomorrow.